sunshines, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be talking about how I save money as a uni kid, and I'm sure this is a topic that's really close to all of our hearts because we ain't want to be broke. So on this mini adulting series on money, I'm going to be showing you guys how I personally approach my own finances, with today's topic being how to save money or how I spend less money when buying the things that I need and want. And if you're interested, stay tuned for next week's video where I will be talking about how I maximize my earning power or how I earn more money. And this is with the broad goal in mind of having a sense of financial security and financial stability. I think it's important to preface this video with a bit on my own financial background, which might be helpful in understanding why I spend on certain things and not others. So I am really blessed and privileged that my parents pay for most of my major and necessary expenditures, like my school fees. And since I am staying at home, I don't need to pay for rent and for food that I eat when I'm at home, or utilities, Wi-Fi, water bill, any of that stuff. What I do pay for is kind of like the everything else. Everything from my own leisure activities, shopping, phone bills, transport, room decoration, technology. I do foot those things on my own. And because right now I am interning full-time, I'm also not getting any pocket money from them. The very first and most important tool that I use to save money as a uni kid is to budget everything. When I first started earning money at around 18 years old, my concept of budgeting was really weak. I knew that I should probably have an account of how much I spend on categories and have a limit on those categories, but I didn't really know how to set proper limits, and I also didn't really know how to enforce these spending limits. So I've cycled through a couple of budgeting and financial tracking apps, and the one that I love the most is called You Need a Budget, or YNAB, and this was actually introduced to me through a senior in CAP who replied to my IG story. So YNAB is both a desktop and a mobile app. It is a multi-platform personal budgeting program that's based on the envelope method. The envelope method itself is kind of the most basic way that anyone would budget. So imagine that you have different physical envelopes. You split your income into these different envelopes according to what category of spending that you need, like bills, groceries, entertainment, and so on. And once you've decided how much goes into that category, you only spend the amount that's within the envelope. So YNAB does that except digitally, and it kind of just shows you everything that you've allocated to a certain category and how much you've spent within that category. For students, the first year of YNAB is actually free, so I am still on my first free year, but after that it's around $80 USD per year. Let's go through my YNAB together so that you guys can have a little look into what the platform is like. What I love about this platform is that I can see at a glance exactly how much cash I have allocated to a certain area, and it can be as specific or general as I want. As you can see, for example, in November, I had originally some money that I set aside to pay off my phone bill, which is $18, and after that was deducted in the month of November, I still have a remaining $8 to go forward to December's phone bill. So I know that for next month, if I want to, I only need to allocate $10 more to this category so that I can pay it off in full. Or if I overspend in a certain category, which right now is the homeware and laundry category, I just spent money on some command hooks, then it'll turn up as red, which means that I have overspent it, and I need to cover this overspending by taking money from another category or another envelope which still has excess. I think YNAB is really great for me because it's so comprehensive, because it really lets you see all of your accounts at once. You have your net worth all displayed there. They also generate reports for you by month, by 90 days, or even by 3 months, etc. if you want to have a glance at how much you've been spending in each category in a really nice visual form. And seeing all your expenditure divided by budget is really helpful, at least to me, in seeing how much I have already spent for the month and whether I have gone over that budget and if I need to cut down on certain areas. So I would say that budgeting has really helped me in kind of planning out my finances a bit more smartly rather than just spending as and when I see fit and going by feels. If you don't already use a budgeting app or any kind of tool, I would really recommend it. But I'm sure that there are a ton of other free expenditure apps and budgeting apps that you can use, as well as Excel templates that people have made off of the envelope method, which you can probably just use in Excel itself. So now that we've decided exactly how much we want to spend in each category, we can talk about how we should spend for the things that we know we need and want. This is for online shopping in general. Before I make any kind of online purchase, or even if I'm going to a retail physical store, I always make it a habit to check Shopback before carting, because there is a good chance that the store is on Shopback. If you don't already know what it is, it's basically a cashback app that gives you a certain percentage of cashback whenever you make a purchase, whether that's online or in a physical store. It's really simple because you just have to make sure that whenever you want to buy something, you go through the store on Shopback instead of directly on the website or directly on the app. Because I spend mostly on Shopee, that's like my main shopping platform, I will always click through Shopback before carting out so that I get a 0.3% cashback. And yes, sometimes the cashback is only peanuts and it can be like less than 10 cents, less than 5 cents, but I still feel like it's a good habit to have because those cents can kind of add up. It's just like cultivating a good habit to always try to source for a bit of discount before you buy something so that you don't always pay the full price when you don't need to. I would say that Shopback is also really handy if you're going to ever make a big ticket purchase, such as staycations or flight tickets or hotel bookings. And of course, the cashback is going to be higher because you're spending more on that one item. And that's how I've gotten over $70 worth of cashback up till now, which is not a bad amount, I think, for all of the small purchases that I've accumulated. One pro tip that I have if you really want to go all out is to buy platform vouchers in Shopback. So for example, you want to buy something on Shopee, then you buy the Shopee voucher through Shopback, which gives you cashback in itself. So when you go to Shopee, you can apply that voucher and then you check out through Shopback again, which will get you another round of cashback. In that way, you can kind of get like a double cashback, but it is more roundabout and it involves more effort to look for vouchers of the appropriate amount and all that. So it's really up to you. The second app that I want to talk about in relation to general shopping is the EasyLink app, which I think not many people know about because nowadays it's really common to just use your bank card to tap for transport. Personally, I just prefer using my EasyLink because I don't really like using my phone and having to tap in my password every time just to tap in and out. But another great perk of using EasyLink is that if you register your card on the app, you can also earn points on the app, and these points can be exchanged for rewards. And this is like almost no effort at all because you accumulate points naturally just by using the EasyLink to tap in and out and just basically using the EasyLink card as you normally would. Now, I would say that the EasyLink app used to be a lot better. There were better deals in the past. Like I've managed to redeem completely free Old Chunky curry puffs before, but now the deals are not so great. However, it's great if you want to stack with certain platforms that are offered on the EasyLink app. So for example, I managed to get a $7 off voucher for Shopee through the EasyLink app, and I can stack that with my other Shopee coins or platform vouchers if possible. So yeah, that's another fuss-free way that I try to lower my expenditure by getting more of these small deals here and there. The last app that I'm going to talk about in terms of general spending is Dash. Dash is an all-in-one mobile wallet that you can use basically like a debit card. When you sign up, you don't get a physical like debit or credit card type thing, but it's an online card that you can tag to your Apple Pay or Google Pay. I think I use Apple Pay, and I basically use it as my spending card and spending account. And this is because whenever I spend anything on the Dash, I get points. And again, these points can be used to redeem cash vouchers across a variety of stores. They have kind of like a tiered point system, so if you spend more than $300 in a month, every dollar that you spend will earn 6 points. If you spend less, it will earn less points and so forth. So they are encouraging you to spend more. But because I foot most of my subscription bills and day-to-day expenses on Dash, it's not too hard to rack up like more than $300 per month through Dash alone. And I've calculated that for every $800 or so that I spend, I get $10 back in the form of a voucher that I want, say through cold storage, or they also have Shopee, Shengxiong, all sorts of stores. It's a pretty good variety. I think some people would prefer to just spend on a normal like banking debit card instead, or even credit card if you have it. But for uni kids, I would say that this is one of the better options that we have, because a lot of us are not able to apply for credit cards right now because we don't really have like a very stable or very high enough income. And debit cards, generally I feel like the cashback isn't really that great. So at least for Dash, I know that every 800 or so I can get back for sure $10 worth in stores that I will definitely be going to, like cold storage, because I like to get groceries from there from time to time. And also, if you are a uni student who is in charge of paying your own uni fees, or you have very big payments that you are responsible for, I would actually suggest that you look into Dash so that at least whenever you pay for something, you can accumulate some points and you can redeem those points for cash in other stores if you're going to be making large lump sum payments anyway. Another big thing that you can do to spend less money on things is to go through the secondhand channel. And within this, there are various ways to go buy it, but my personal favorite is Carousel, just because it's online and I can just easily scroll through everything rather than making a trip down to an actual thrift store. Although the pros of that would be that you get to physically see and like touch and feel the items to weigh in your mind before you decide whether you want it or not. But I like the convenience of Carousel because it's a really simple app to use whether you want to buy or sell. A lot of the clothes that I wear are actually from Carousel, and it could be from people that I was originally following or just searched up. For example, a brown halter top, and then you can kind of just see what people have decided to list. Sometimes they're selling because it doesn't fit them or it's too old. It may have defects as well, but it kind of comes with the territory. But I think it's a really good way to score for items that would be way cheaper than if you bought it retail. And also it's good for the environment because you're giving it a new lease of life. Some examples of things that I've bought are actually a lot of my big ticket items. Like my iPad is something that I got on Carousel because I was in the market for a tablet and I knew that I wanted an iPad to fit into my Apple ecosystem, but I didn't want to go the whole hog and get like an Air or a Pro through the Apple store with no cashback, no discounts or anything. So I went to go online to search, and this one was a box set that someone had won at this like corporate event at his company. That's why he was selling it, and I got it for quite a bit less than the retail price, and it was pretty much brand new because it was sealed and everything. So I would really recommend any broke uni kid or any uni kid in general, even any normal person, to go and try out the secondhand route first, because it could save you so much cash without actually having too many trade-offs. And in some cases, you can even get something that's brand new just because someone doesn't really want to have it. Yeah. We have covered general spending, so now I'm going to move on to things that I use for food specific expenditure. And for food, I'm not talking about like going to the hawker center or going to the food court or staying at home. Like, I am not talking about basic tips that everyone should know if you want to save. Obviously, you will not eat out and you will not buy many drinks or snacks outside. All of that. This is for when you know that you want to go to a restaurant and you kind of want to treat yourself, go on a nice date. How do you save money while doing that? My go-to app for dining experiences would be Burple, which is a paid one, but I think a lot of people do kind of hack it by sharing accounts with friends. I personally really like Burple because I think that the selection they have is pretty good, and for the subscription fee that you pay, you can quite easily kind of like break even and make your money's worth just by going to maybe 5-10 restaurants in a year. However, if you really want to be thrifty, use Eatigo or Chope. These are my top 2 kind of free food apps. Eatigo was definitely a bigger app for me a few years ago, although now I do think that the selection has narrowed down a bit and the discounts aren't that great. But if you are really careful about scouting on the app to see which restaurants go at 50% off at certain timings, if you're okay with eating off-peak, then you can have like a 50% off meal just by booking through Eatigo itself. And sometimes they will release certain vouchers which you can collect cashback from, or like save $5 off your meal, because they want to attract more people to use the app, of course. Chope is another one that I use occasionally when the restaurant that I want to go to is not on Burple or does not have any kind of particular discount. If you can reserve it through Chope, then you might as well, because for every reservation that you make on Chope, you earn 100 Chope dollars. And once you accumulate 1,000 Chope dollars, I think you can use that to offset a food voucher that you may want to purchase in the future. So that's like going to restaurants that you already want to eat at and getting free money for it after a while. Also, a small tip from me that is not app related but will help to cut down on food costs is to not order drinks when you eat out. I confess that I do order drinks with relative frequency now, but I definitely think that drinks are something that's very innocuous that do add up, because you think that, oh, it's only a few dollars and you get like a soft drink or just any kind of drink to go with your meal. But by cutting out on that and just drinking water, you can actually save quite a bit. And just making your own drinks at home or buying a drink in bulk, like a 1 liter green tea, and drinking it at home instead of buying it in small doses outside. Moving on to the last category, how do you save money for entertainment related purposes? I feel like there's no way to sugarcoat this, and it is just very plainly to find hobbies that are free and will not break the bank. And I know, I personally relate that Singapore might not be the most fun and the most scenic place to be, but certain activities that cost very little can actually be really fun, especially if you do them with the right people. Instead of like shopping every weekend at the malls or watching a movie every weekend, there's like a lot of places in Singapore that are very, very nice to take a hike in. Cycling is a big one for me. I use SG bikes because I find that the fares are pretty reasonable for how long you cycle on it. Like, I've cycled 2+ hours and it never amounts to more than $5. It's even more like $3-4 for like a good long ride throughout Singapore's park connectors and like East Coast and all of that stuff. For books, I use Libby mainly. I think I've bought maybe 10 books in the course of my entire life, because mostly I borrow from the library, and after Libby was introduced as an app, it's so easy to just borrow whatever you want and read on your e-reader, on your phone, or on your tablet if you have one. I do most of my reading on my iPad because I like that the screen's big enough, and also it automatically syncs with your mobile phone, so if you want to just whip out your phone and read it on a phone, it's also possible. For fitness classes, if you want to experience like a proper professionally led sports session or learning something new, but you don't want to go through more pricey channels like ClassPass or packages with individual studios, then I like Healthy 365 for that. I used it pretty extensively when I first graduated from JC because I didn't want to commit to any studio, and it's completely free. I would always look at the Sunrise in the City program specifically because they offer quite a wide range of different classes that you can choose from, and it's all completely free of charge. I actually picked up boxing from Healthy 365 because they had these intro classes at a certain studio near Clarke Quay-ish, and I would just go for fun, like to see what it's all about, and that's where I got first introduced to boxing. And now I moved on to like a paid studio because I want to get really into the sport and such. But it's really good if you want to go for exercise classes, like it's something that motivates you, and it could even be a hobby as well, and it doesn't cost you anything because it's covered by HPB. That's all I have for you guys today. I know that it's not a very comprehensive list of what you can do to save money, but it's personally what I have used. It's tried and tested by me, and these are the things that I do on a day-to-day basis to help cut down on my costs as someone who is footing the bill for my own like entertainment and leisure purposes. And as someone who likes her share of fun, you know, like I like to go out, I do like to eat at restaurants sometimes, and these are just some of the ways that I try to lessen the expenses for that, in addition to saving as much as I can so that I get that financial security. If you want to learn more about how I approach my finances, then stay tuned for next week. I'll be talking about how I earn more money, or how I try to increase my earning power. Definitely look out for that. And if you have any tips of your own that you think are really useful and you find helpful to your own life, please comment it below or just let me know, because I'm always up for a good deal and for saving that spicy money. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a really lovely day, saving them big bucks, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!